Hello, family. I hope all is well. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And I'm going to send you all lots of love out there. We can never get enough of love. And family, I appreciate you all. And thank you so much for liking my videos, sharing them, leaving your comments. Please don't forget to like me if you like me. And share if you agree. Okay, so we're going to get into this video about how Africa is trying to involve themselves in our reparations. I mean, they just taking on their own thing. They just talking as if we done had a meeting about it and we all on the same page. This is the disrespect. These people act like we are a ghost. We're invisible. They just don't regard us as we don't have no say so in nothing. Y'all gonna be a part of Africa and we gonna get y'all reparations and blah, 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 blah. What is wrong? Africa are scammers. Okay, this is all I see. Fraudsters, scammers. How dare you all try to attach yourselves to Foundation Black Americans and Black American Indians and the Black Israelites reparations. All right, we're going to listen to Ben Crump. He's American, but he's over there fighting for Africa. Nobody's fighting for us, Black Americans. Okay, here we go.
Request reparations. It's almost like they see it as we're asking for charity. Well, charity is a nuisance. When you think about reparations for Jews after the Holocaust, they awarded it, they said they were obligated to do so. When they talk about the Japanese who were in the Japanese internment camps during World War II, they gave them reparations and they said it was an obligation to do so. And then even the Native Americans, when they gave them the casinos, they said...
Those are the $5 Indians that's pretending they us.
That was an obligation to repair the harm. But who they have never given reparations to in the United States of America is the descendants of Africa.
He said the descendants of Africa. Wow. What America got to do with Africa when it comes to reparations? We're asked for reparations not because we were sold by Africa, but we asked for reparations for the atrocities that we went through once we got over here, being treated inhumane. All right. Let's listen to some more of this.
Document, address, and get accountability for the racial injustice that has been afflicted on Africa's children.
You see all that? Wait a minute.
Everything will get reparations.
I do because I believe the DNA that goes through our bodies from our ancestors. We come from a people that have always overcome. I tell people...
Did y'all hear him talk about we will get reparation for Africa? And then she says, do you think we'll ever get reparation? He said nothing about Black Americans. He said Africa. Who is really selling us out? Okay, hold on.
Court proclaimed in the Dred Scott decision that there were no rights that a black man had that a white man was bound to respect. But yet we overcame that. After the Civil War that was supposed to have freed us from slavery and made us full citizens, we then had to encounter Reconstruction and the 40 acres and a mule lie. And we overcame that. And then you had Jim Crow and Jim Crow Jr. And we overcame that. And then you had in the 1940s and 50s, you had the lynchings and the kidnapping and the battle to take us back from the 13th 14th and 15th Amendments that gave us the right to vote, that saw the birth of Martin Luther King and so many others, Congressman John
And
Lewis.
Ben Crump, and that wasn't in Africa. Everything you describing happened in America to foundation of black Americans and black Indians, black American Indians and the black Israelites. That didn't happen to anybody over there in Africa. And what country did we supposed to be shipped from? We don't have nobody over there. We started all over again. Let's finish listening to this.
And yet, as many times as they tried to keep us down, we overcame that too. So what that tells me, Lady Delta, there is nothing that the enemies of equality can do to keep us down. We rise, we rise, we rise. We came through slavery, and they said we would never gain our independence from slavery.
So why you over there talking in Africa? They ain't got nothing to do with what we overcame.
Segregation, sitting in the back of the bus. They said we would never be able to achieve equality and equal access to the vote. And we did. And so when we talk about reparations, I say that our people are accustomed to doing what they claim is impossible. And so I tell my children and our young people, the next generation, that just like we were able to achieve those landmark victories, we will get reparations in this generation or yours, but be confident we will reclaim what is rightfully due to us.
I love that. Ben, anytime that I've heard you speak, I get goosebumps. I hear the passion in your voice. Listening to one of your interviews, you wanted to become a lawyer when you were in 4th grade. What made you want to be a lawyer?
Certainly. Martin's family, the young kid who President Barack Obama said if I had a son, he would look a lot like Trayvon, who, if I never want to assume people know these stories. So Trayvon was the 17-year-old African-American kid with the hoodie walking home from the convenience store with a bag of Skittles and a can of iced tea. And he was profiled, pursued, and shot in his heart by the Neighborhood Watch volunteer.
And Ben Crump, that was Foundation Black American Indians, and the Israelites struggle over here in America. Why are you over there discussing that in Africa? They didn't suffer none. There were no African children. Trayvon was over here in America. So why are you studying telling Africa our story? You need to be over here fighting for the Americans. We tired of y'all fighting for everybody else.
Place called Sanford, Florida, and Attorney Nella Jackson and I were able to make his name become known all across the world. It became the #1 news story in the entire world in 2012. And so Harry Belafonte, the king and the civil rights activist in the modern civil rights movement in America, told Jamie Foxx, always remember this. And he looked at me. He said, you all have to understand, what good is it to have influence if you don't use it when it matters the most?
Exactly. For Foundation of Black Americans, Ben Crump.
And so that's why we fight that's why we fight for George Floyd's. That's why we fight for Breonna Taylor's. That's why we fight for Tyree Nichols. That's why we fight for Sandra Bland's. That's why we fight for Eric Garner's. That's why we fight for the Ahmaud Arbery's. That's why we fight for so many of our people who have been killed unnecessarily and unjustifiably by the...
And we thank you, Ben Crump, but that's over here in America. So family, see what we go through. He fighting in the wrong country. But if you like my video, please like it, share it if you agree, and leave your comments. Love y'all. Bye.